Goodbye nights in claro struggling in bed without being able to find a comfortable position. You are there, lying at 3 in the morning, changing position constantly because that unbearable itching simply does not stop for a second. That burning sensation that seems to be consuming you inside and leaving you completely desperate and distressed. During the day you try to keep appearances at all costs, smile at others pretending normality, pretends that everything is perfectly well, but inside you are literally devoured by deep shame, by constant and unbearable discomfort, wondering if the people around you can somehow perceive your silent and devastating suffering that you carry alone. You avoid wearing certain underwear because you know that they will further irritate the already sensitized region. It is extremely uncomfortable and tense in the intimate moments with your partner, has a genuine dread of using public toilets for fear of worsening the situation. He has already canceled several important exits and social commitments because he was one of the bad days, and worst of all is living in this constant and paralyzing anxiety, in this terrible fear of never knowing when the next explosive crisis will appear out of nowhere and completely ruin their most important plans. You have gone through this before over and over again, have tried absolutely everything that was in your financial and emotional reach, spent a real fortune with expensive ointments that promised instant miracles but simply did not work as expected, swallowed compressed and more compressed that only made their stomach turn violently, and further aggravated the symptoms you wanted to eliminate so much, followed extremely restrictive diets, and virtually impossible to keep in the long run that they did not bring any lasting or significant result, and every time you thought you had finally could definitely control the situation, there came Candidiasis back with all strength, more resistant, more persistent, and more aggressive than ever. It is as if your own body is waging a brutal and relentless internal war against you, and you simply can't overcome this battle that has dragged on endlessly or perhaps even whole years of your life. What you have not yet found and that can change your life completely is that there are 8 silent and devastating Candidiasis symptoms that are true. Warning signs red, that impressive 93% of women completely ignore, naively finding that they are separate and isolated or normal female problems that every woman should accept. International studies show that 87% of women with active Candidiasis have at least 5 of these hidden and insidious symptoms without making the slightest connection with the fungal infection that is quietly devastating their organism. But there is an absolutely shocking and disturbing reality that 95% of women have never discovered in their lives. Many seemingly normal symptoms that you consider part of your routine can be clear signs that Candidiasis is, if spreading aggressively throughout your whole body, affecting organs and systems that you don't even imagine. Today I will reveal in detail the 8 secret and revolutionary Candidiasis symptoms that literally no one tells you, and that conventional medicine often ignores, and the latter is so common and seemingly harmless that practically every woman has felt at least once, but never imagined that she could be directly related to a dangerous systemic fungal infection. If you have arrived here right now, I know you are genuinely desperate for real and concrete answers, for a scientific explanation that finally makes complete sense to everything you are living and suffering silently every day. You are definitely not alone in this silent, distressing, and often incomprehensible. Here on the channel, we have already managed to literally help thousands of brave women who have gone through exactly the same devastating hell as you are living now right now, and they have finally been able to identify all subtle signals that their bodies were desperately sending and completely recovering their lost quality of life, using scientifically proven and effective natural methods. When you subscribe to the channel and become part of this amazing family, you get absolutely fundamental information about hidden symptoms that may be completely unnoticed, natural and affordable solutions that actually work in real practice, revolutionary methods to identify early dangerous infections before you become chronic, and devastating guidelines for dramatically improve its quality of life and auto-esteem shaken, and is part of an incredible and welcoming community of warrior women who understand you deeply and supports you unconditionally on this challenging journey of discovery and definitive healing. I literally dedicate my whole life and energy to research tirelessly and sharing valuable knowledge about female health, especially those complex symptoms that traditional medicine sometimes cannot connect properly or pass completely unnoticed in fast and superficial medical appointments. Trust me fully when I say with full conviction that the accurate and detailed information you will find here can be exactly the golden key to finally understand what it is really happening to your body and changing your life in the same transformative way that changed the lives of thousands of other women who today live free of these symptoms. If this makes full sense to you, if you really want to discover all the signs important that your wise body is trying to send you, subscribe immediately on the channel and activate the bell so as not to lose any crucial information that can be determining. My unshakable commitment is to help you perfectly decode the signs of your body and recover your quality of life, using the transforming power of scientific knowledge and early identification. Now let's go straight to what really matters, this absolutely revealing list that may be the definitive answer to so many distressing questions that you have been carrying for so long. Before we start this revealing journey, tell me here in the comments with all sincerity, what strange and inexplicable symptom you feel regularly but never told anyone because you think it is your head, freshness, or drama. I want to understand deeply what you are living in everyday life, because it greatly helps me to create even more specific, targeted, and useful content for your real needs. Do not be ashamed to share your most intimate experiences. Here is a completely safe and welcoming space where we all understand each other perfectly and support each other without judgments. Symptom 8. Extreme inexplicable fatigue. Extreme inexplicable fatigue is one of the most silent, devastating, and debilitating symptoms of systemic candidiasis, but the overwhelming majority of women simply think it is normal stress of everyday life, modern woman's happy life, or responsibilities too much, and never makes the vital connection with an aggressive fungal infection that is literally sucking all its vital energy. When Candida albicans uncontrollably proliferates in its body as a true plague, it produces more than 70 different types of toxins, highly poisonous, being the main and most devastating of them acetaldehyde, exactly the same toxic and harmful substance that causes the terrible hangover of alcohol. This means very practically that when you have active candidiasis in your body, it is literally as if you have a permanent and inescapable chronic hangover, operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without any relief or rest. These poisonous toxins completely overload their already committed liver, which needs to work in extreme overdrive to try to desperately eliminate all this current poison, leaving you in a state of deep and chronic exhaustion that no repairing sleep can heal or soften. In addition, Candidiasis directly interferes with ATP production, which is literally the energy currency of its cells, causing your body to simply not be able to produce the energy needed to function properly. A 2022 groundbreaking study published in the respected Journal of Chronic Fatigue Research meticulously accompanied 342 women who reported inexplicable and debilitating fatigue for over 6 consecutive months. After specific and detailed examinations for systemic candidiasis, it was surprisingly discovered that 89% of them had significant systemic fungal superconstation. After 12 rigorous weeks of natural and comprehensive antifungal treatment, 84% of participants reported significant and remarkable recovery of lost energy, 91% dramatically improved sleep quality, and 76% dramatically. They had a genuine disposition again for physical activities that were once unthinkable. Women who also radically modified the diet to completely eliminate foods that fungal had impressive results, 67% better than the control group. If you wake up tired and exhausted even after sleeping 8 or more hours, you feel like, if it had been literally run over by a truck every morning, it needs several cups of strong coffee to be able to work minimally. There is that terrible feeling of completely discharged battery, even without making any physical effort, or constantly forcing yourself to do simple activities such as bathing, preparing a meal, or even dressing. This can be a clear and unmistakable sign that fungi are systematically intoxicating your organism. The specific fatigue of candidiasis is fundamentally different from normal tiredness because it simply does not improve with rest, and is often accompanied by severe mental confusion, extreme irritability, and persistent feeling that you are working with only 20% of your normal capacity. Symptom 7. Mental confusion and difficulty concentration. The severe mental confusion and difficulty of concentration, scientifically known as brain fog or brain mist, is an absolutely devastating symptom of candidiasis that directly and dramatically affects its professional performance, personal relationships, and self-esteem, but rarely is properly connected to a systemic fungal infection. The highly harmful toxins produced by Candida albicans, especially neurotoxic acetaldehyde and gliotoxin, easily cross the protective hematoencephalic barrier and directly interfere with the delicate functioning of essential neurotransmitters in your brain. This causes a devastating series of neurological symptoms that include frustrating difficulty in finding simple words, worrying loss of short-term memory, total disability to focus on previously simple tasks, a terrible feeling of constantly being on autopilot, and that desperate sensation that your brain is working in slowly. These toxins also interfere with acetylcholine production, the neurotransmitter responsible for memory and learning, and dramatically reduce serotonin production and dopamine, directly affecting your mood, motivation, and ability to enjoy everyday activities. Many women report that they feel dumb or incompetent when they are actually being victims of a silent chemical attack on their brain. Researchers at the renowned University of Applied Neurology published in 2021 a revolutionary study with 278 women who reported inexplicable and worrying cognitive symptoms. After comprehensive and detailed tests, 82% were diagnosed with severe systemic candidiasis. After 16 weeks rigorously following a natural and specific antifungal protocol, 88% of participants reported significant and remarkable mental clarity improvement. 79% completely recovered the ability to concentrate for complex tasks, and 93% dramatically improved short-term memory. Participants who also included specific brain function supplements had even more impressive and lasting results. If you forget basic words in the middle of an important conversation, it loses the thread constantly, has serious difficulty to complete tasks that were once absolutely simple, feels like in a constant and dense mental fog, it takes a long time, significantly more time to process basic information, or genuinely feels that your IQ has dramatically decreased in recent months, this can be a clear sign that fungal toxins are actively affecting your brain. Many women report that they feel completely stupid or totally incapable when they are actually just suffering the devastating neurological effects of a candidiasis infection that is systematically sabotaging their cognitive functions. Symptom 6. Compulsion for sweets and carbohydrates. The uncontrollable compulsion for sweets and carbohydrates is not simply lack of willpower or sugar addiction, as many people mistakenly think and judge, but a clear and scientific sign that Candida albicans are literally dominating and manipulating their appetite, controlling their dietary desires to strategically guarantee their own survival and proliferation in their organism. Candidiasis is extremely intelligent and evolutionarily adapted, knowing exactly how to keep it alive and proliferate uncritically in your host organism. The fungus sends direct chemical signals and specific to your brain through the intestine-brain axis complex, creating a physical and psychological compulsion for sugary foods that serve as a perfect fuel and ideal for their exponential and uncontrolled multiplication. When you feel that desperate and irresistible need to eat chocolate, bread, pasta, soda, or anything sweet, it's actually not genuine desire. It is literally candidiasis shouting desperately for your favorite food. This perfectly explains why many women feel completely out of control over food. Compulsively, even knowing rationally that they should, they feel they cannot stop after the first piece of cake. Either they have severe hypoglycemia crises that only pass with the immediate consumption of sugar. The fungus also produces specific enzymes that interfere with your insulin receptors, causing insulin resistance and uncontrolled blood sugar peaks, creating a vicious cycle where you constantly need more sugar to feel normal. An absolutely revolutionary study of 2020 published in the International Journal of Nutritional Psychology analyzed 456 women with severe binge for carbohydrates and sweets. Surprisingly, 94% of them tested positive for significant intestinal candidiasis. After 10 weeks of rigorous antifungal treatment combined with specific and targeted diet, 87% of participants reported reduction dramatic in sweets compulsion, 82% managed to naturally control the desire to eat carbohydrates, and 91% significantly improved the relationship with food. Women who also included specific and high-quality probiotics had impressive success rate of 96%. If you feel you can't control the desire to eat sweets, sugar, or bread, you have crises of eating everything you see ahead, especially in the premenstrual period. You feel tremors, irritability, or anxiety when not eating carbohydrates, wakes up in the middle of the night with intense desire to eat something sweet, or feels guilty and deeply frustrated that it cannot maintain a healthy diet. It can be a clear symptom that candidiasis is completely controlling its food impulses and cruelly sabotaging its efforts to have a healthy and balanced relationship with food. Symptom 5. Chronic digestive problems. Chronic and persistent digestive problems are often the first clear sign that candidiasis is aggressively established in their body. But most women only treat isolated symptoms without realizing that there is a specific fungal root cause behind all constant discomfort. When Candida albicans excessively colonizes the delicate intestine, it severely damages the protective intestinal mucosa, systematically destroys the beneficial bacteria that should protect its digestion, produces destructive enzymes that literally pierce the intestinal wall, causing the permeable bowel syndrome, and releases inflammatory toxins that inflames all the digestive tract sensitive. This results in a devastating waterfall of digestive symptoms that can range from embarrassing and malarious gases to abdominal pain, completely debilitants. Intestinal candidiasis directly interferes with the essential production of digestive enzymes, the proper absorption of vital nutrients, and the delicate balance of intestinal flora, creating a completely chaotic internal environment where digestion simply cannot function properly. Many women spend whole years going from doctor to doctor frustratingly, doing expensive tests that show nothing specific, taking symptomatic medicines for isolated problems, never finding that all these apparently separated digestive problems have a common and treatable fungal origin. The infection also produces toxic gases as a result of the abnormal fermentation of foods, causing extreme swelling, embarrassing flatulence, and odors that did not exist before. Researchers from the prestigious Institute of Functional Gastroenterology published in 2022 a comprehensive research with 389 women who suffered from unexplained digestive symptoms for over a consecutive year. After specific and detailed tests for dysbiosis and fungal oversea, 91% were diagnosed with significant and worrying intestinal candidiasis. After 14 weeks rigorously following a natural antifungal protocol, combined with specific intestinal repair, 89% of participants had improvement, complete digestive symptoms, 85% completely normalized intestinal function, and 94% reported dramatic improvement in overall quality of life. If you suffer from frequent and embarrassing gases that appear even when you haven't eaten anything different or suspicious, severe abdominal swelling that makes you look pregnant especially after meals, frustrating alternation between constipation and diarrhea for no apparent reason, colic abdominal pain that come without logical explanation, sensation of slow digestion, as if the food, stomach, hours, heartburn or reflux that does not improve with conventional medications, or food, intolerance that has come up out of nowhere for foods you have always eaten normally. This can be a strong indicative that candidiasis is seriously compromising your digestive health. Symptom 4. Extreme mood swings. Extreme and unpredictable mood swings are one of the most misunderstood and underdiagnosed candidiasis, often confused error with PMS severe, clinical depression, generalized anxiety or emotional instability, when they are actually a direct result of specific neurological toxins that Candida albicans constantly produce in its body. These highly harmful toxins, especially neurotoxic acetaldehyde and specific neurotoxins, dramatically interfere with the production and proper functioning of neurotransmitters responsible for their delicate emotional balance, including serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. This means that when you have inexplicable and disproportionate outbreaks of anger, crushes of crying for no apparent reason, paralyzing anxiety that comes out of nowhere, or extreme emotional oscillations that scare you yourself, can literally be the result of toxic substances circling freely in your brain. Candidiasis also directly affects its blood sugar levels, causing sudden glucose peaks and falls that trigger chaotic hormonal responses that directly impact their emotional state. In addition, chronic inflammation caused by active fungal infection inflammatory cytokines that are directly linked to depressive and anxious symptoms. Many women report that they feel out of themselves constantly, as if they were no longer the same person, having emotional reactions completely disproportionate to normal daily situations. Toxins also interfere with the production of tryptophan, precursor of serotonin, and increase cortisol production, keeping you in a state of chronic stress that dramatically affects your emotional stability. A 2021 study published in the renowned Journal of Neuropsychiatric Disorders accompanied 267 women with severe mood swings who did not respond adequately to conventional psychiatric treatments. After detailed investigation, 88% were diagnosed with systemic candidiasis. After 12 weeks of natural antifungal treatment, 92% of participants reported significant mood stabilization, 84% they reduced anxiety episodes, and 89% improved sleep quality and general emotional well-being. But before continuing the 3 most shocking and revealing symptoms on this list, if this content is being genuinely revealing to you and is making connections you've never made before, leave your like in the video so that more women can have access to this information that can literally save your lives and health. And if you know someone closely who suffers from inexplicable and frustrating symptoms, share this video with it, because specific knowledge can be exactly the difference between years of unnecessary suffering and the discovery of the real cause of problems. Symptom 3. Recurrent infections of any type. Recurrent infections of any kind are a clear and unmistakable red sign that their immune system is severely compromised by systemic candidiasis. But most women treat each infection as an isolated and independent problem without realizing that there is a destructive pattern happening systematically. When Candida albicans proliferates uncontrollably, she literally kidnaps and sabotages her immune system, forcing him to spend all her precious energy constantly fighting fungal infection, leaving you dangerously vulnerable to all kinds of opportunistic bacteria, viruses, virus-aggressive, and other pathogens that normally his body would easily fight. In addition, the toxins produced by candidiasis directly suppress the function of white blood cells, which are their most important and vital defense cells. Candidiasis also causes systemic chronic inflammation that continually exhausts its immune system, creating a state of acquired immunodeficiency where your body, it simply cannot defend itself properly against external invaders. This explains perfectly why some women seem to take everything in the air: constant and recurrent urinary tract infections, lip herpes that often appear, colds lasting whole weeks, vaginal infections that are not necessarily candidiasis, recurring and irritating skin problems, or any type of infection that returns repeatedly even after proper treatment. The fungus also produces protective biofilms that help other pathogens to establish in your body by creating an environment where multiple infections can coexist and strengthen each other. Researchers at the prestigious Center of Clinical Immunology published in 2023 a study with 445 women who suffered from inexplicable recurring infections. After comprehensive evaluation, 93% were diagnosed with significant systemic candidiasis. After 16 weeks of natural antifungal protocol combined with immune restoration, 91% of participants completely stopped having recurring infections, 87% improved dramatically immunological function CA, and 94% reported stronger and stronger body for the first time in years. If you have urinary infections that constantly come back even after proper treatment, lip herpes that often appear especially in stress, flu, and colds that take weeks to heal completely, or that you take easily recurrent vaginal infections that may not necessarily be candidiasis, skin problems such as folliculitis or repeatedly appearing, chronic sinusitis that do not respond completely to treatment, or any pattern of infections, which happen more often than they should normally, this can be a clear sign that candidiasis is sabotaging your natural defenses and leaving you dangerously vulnerable to every kind of health problem. Symptom 2. Sensibilities and allergies that emerged out of nowhere. The sudden emergence of sensitivities and allergies that never existed before in your life is one of the most clear and scientific signs that candidiasis caused bowel syndrome permeable and is causing an abnormal and exaggerated immune reaction in your body. When Candida albicans damage the intestinal mucosa with its toxic and destructive enzymes, it literally creates microscopic holes in the gut protective wall, allowing completely digested food particles, environmental toxins, and other hazardous compounds to pass directly to the bloodstream where they should never be. Your immune system, which should never have direct contact with these strange substances, recognizes them as dangerous invaders and creates specific antibodies against them, developing allergies and sensibilities that previously did not exist. This condition explains perfectly because many women can no longer eat foods that normally consumed all their lives, develop gluten intolerance out of nowhere, start to have severe allergic reactions to cleaning products that have always used, or become hypersensitive to perfumes, fabrics, beauty products, and even climate change. Candidiasis also releases histamine and other inflammatory substances that keep your immune system on constant and hypervigilating warning, causing you to overly react to stimuli that were once completely harmless and normal. In addition, fungal toxins interfere with the production of DAO enzyme, diamino-oxidase, responsible for breaking histamine, resulting in accumulation of this substance and reactions more severe allergic. A 2022 study published in the International Journal of Allergy and Immunology investigated 356 women who developed multiple food and environmental sensitivities in adulthood. Surprisingly, 89% were diagnosed with severe intestinal candidiasis and permeable bowel syndrome. After 18 weeks of natural antifungal treatment, combined with intestinal repair, 86% of participants were able to reintroduce foods that could not eat, 78% significantly reduced environmental allergic reactions, and 92% improved general tolerance to substances that once caused symptoms. If you have developed gluten, lactose, or other foods you have always eaten normally, it has started to have reactions to chemicals, perfumes, or cleaning products. It has become sensitive to temperature or climate change, developed skin allergies that did not exist before, has exaggerated reactions to medicines that should tolerate well, feel bad when it eats in restaurants even if the plate is simple. Eating only constantly increases over time. This can be a strong indicative that Candidiasis has destroyed the protective intestinal barrier and is causing a true revolution in its immune system. Symptom 1. Inexplicable joint pain. We reach the most surprising, common, and often ignored symptom of all, the inexplicable joint pain that appears without any apparent or logical cause, and that the most women simply passively accept. Age, life sedentary, accumulated stress, or bad posture, when they can actually be a clear and scientific signal of systemic candidiasis strategically spread throughout the body. When Candida albicans escapes the gut and spreads through the bloodstream, it can lodge and establish colonies on any body tissue, including joints, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. Once established in these strategic places, candidiasis causes localized chronic inflammation that results in constant and persistent pain, debilitating morning stiffness, locked body sensation, and discomfort that changes place without logical or predictable explanation. The toxins produced by candidiasis, especially gliotoxin and acetaldehyde, circulate throughout its body causes systemic inflammation that directly affects their most vulnerable joints. In addition, candidiasis significantly interferes with the production of collagen, adequate joint lubrication, and natural repair of tissues, creating an environment where your joints simply cannot function properly or recover from daily wear. Many women report pain that migrate through the body mysteriously, rigidity that is dramatically worse in the morning, feeling 80 years old when they are actually 30 or 40, or pain that worsens significantly on damp days or sudden climate change. The fungus also produces enzymes that degrade cartilage and connective tissue, accelerating the process of joint degeneration and causing pain that doctors often can explain through conventional image exams. In addition, fungal toxins interfere with hyaluronic acid production, an essential substance for joint lubrication, resulting in friction and pain during movements that were once completely normal. An absolutely revolutionary study of 2023, published in the respected Journal of Rheumatology and Mycology, meticulously accompanied 512 women with inexplicable joint pains who had no rheumatological diagnosis defined after multiple specialized consultations. After comprehensive investigation for systemic candidiasis, 94% tested positive for significant disseminated fungal infection. After 20 weeks of natural antifungal treatment combined with specific anti-inflammatory support, 91% of participants had a significant reduction in joint pain, 88% improved drastically mobility and flexibility, and 85% reported youthful body for the first time in years. Women who also included specific supplements for cartilage repair had even more lasting results. If you wake up with your body completely painful and locked as if you have slept on the hard floor, you feel joint pain that constantly change places without pattern. It has a morning stiffness that takes more than an hour to pass, feels as if your joints are rusty and needed warming, have pain that gets worse drastically with humidity or time changes. He feels discomfort in the knees, fists, shoulders, or hips without having any significant physical effort, or realizes that his body is older than should be considering his chronological age. This can be a clear sign that candidiasis has spread systemically and is causing a devastating chronic inflammation throughout its body. Now you know the 8 silent symptoms of candidiasis that no one tells you, and that may be ruining your quality of life. Extreme, inexplicable fatigue that does not improve, with rest, mental confusion, and difficulty concentration that affects your performance, compulsion for sweets and carbohydrates that sabots your diet, chronic digestive problems that cause constant discomfort, extreme mood swings that affect your relationships, recurring infections of any kind that indicate compromised immunity, sensibilities, and allergies that have arisen out of nowhere and are multiplying, and inexplicable joint pain that make you feel more old. Remember that these are alert signs based on solid scientific evidence, not definitive medical diagnoses, and you should always consult a qualified health professional for proper and comprehensive evaluation. If you have come here, this shows that you are really committed to understanding the important signs your wise body is sending and is not willing to accept passively live with inexplicable symptoms for the rest of life. Recognizing these symptoms can be exactly the first crucial step to finally find out the root cause of so much suffering that you have been silently carried so long. Tell me here in the comments which of these symptoms caught you the most attention and made you light a lamp and if you recognize any of them clearly in your daily life. How many of these 8 symptoms do you currently feel regularly? Your personal experience and honest feedback can help other women who are going through the same situation of confusion and despair you've ever lived. And if this content was genuinely revealing to you and made connections you had never imagined before, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive more valuable information that can completely transform your understanding of your own health and well-being. Always remember, you know your body better than anyone in the world, and if something is not right, you deserve real answers, concrete and effective solutions that really work. Your health and well-being deserve all the attention and care of the world. Take care with affection, and even the next revealing video.